Welcome to the Gay Buddhist Forum, where teachers from all schools of Buddhism offer their perspectives on the Dharma and its application in modern times, especially for LGBTQI audiences. These talks are offered freely to the world and made possible by appreciative listeners. If you would like to support our efforts to share the Dharma with underserved audiences, please visit gaybuddhist.org. There you can donate, find a list of upcoming speakers, or enjoy many hundreds of these recorded talks dating back to 1996.
Welcome back. Our speaker today asked me to read his introduction before we go around and say our names. So I'm going to do that first. Our speaker today is Emilio Gonzalez. Emilio is a painter, poet, writer, and teacher of Tai Chi and Qigong. He's been a student of Grandmaster Tung since 1973. For 20 years, he taught classes in San Francisco, including a special Qigong class for people with HIV. Today, he teaches 2 classes per week in Santa Rosa and in Occidental. He began his meditation practice with TM training in the 60s and has been meditating daily ever since. Recently, he's attended residential retreats in the Vipassana tradition and the gay men's meditation retreats at St. Dorothy's Rest twice a year. An active member of the Gay and Lesbian AA Fellowship in Sonoma County, Emilio leads workshops on Qigong and search for a conscious contact with God. HIV positive for over 34 years, he credits his longevity to a daily healing practice that includes plenty of reflective time, 2 30-minute sittings, 2 hour-long Tai Chi workouts, nutritious food, minimizing stress, and plenty of rest. Today, Emilio continues to exhibit his vivid watercolor paintings, volunteers for the West County Health Center, and is a housing commissioner for the city of Santa Rosa. He has been happily single since 1986. I think you wanted us to say, when we go around and say our names, to ask what we would like to hear you talk about.
Yeah.
Today. Great. So our custom is to go around and introduce ourselves. We can introduce ourselves by just first name or first and last name. And if you feel moved to say what you would like to hear Emilio talk about today, feel free to add that. Okay. My name is Ray Dyer.
I'm Jeffrey.
My name is Harley Shapiro, and I guess some methods to integrate all those wonderful activities into 24 hours.
Kalam. I'm Aaron.
My name's Gary Ost, and I'd like support in getting beyond my resistance to making a fool of myself when I lose my balance.
Okay.
Liaise.
Joe Kukolka.
My name's Rich.
My name is Tony Passport.
I'm Bruce.
My name is Tom Rivas. I think I'd like to hear something about persistence, how you persisted for so long in this practice.
My name is Michael. I'm Sean. My name is Jerry Martin.
My name is Oswaldo Garcia.
I'm Thomas.
My name is Eric.
My name is Mike.
My name is Ed Brophy. I'd like to hear about grounding the spirit in the body.
I'm David.
I'm Mike.
I'm Marty.
My name is Roy, and I'd like to hear anything from you, Emilio. Just happy you're here.
My name is Conrad.
My name is David, and interested in dealing with adversity in a mindful way without it defining you.
My name is Ricardo.
My name is Tage.
I'm Ying.
I'm Hector.
My name is Ryan.
I'm Wally.
I'm Richard Azzolini.
Jose.
Jay Davidson.
Peter, and I'd like to hear about your own experience with conscious contact with a higher power.
Okay.
My name is Greg.
Okay. Without further ado, turn it over to Emilio.
So, welcome, and thank you for inviting me to come back to GBF. I think this is my 4th visit here, and I was asked to do it a little bit differently. A number of you had wanted me to talk. Usually I come here and we put the cushions away and everybody stands up and I lead you in some Qigong, and we're going to do that later. So we'll probably do maybe the last 20 minutes we'll reserve for that, for doing some Qigong, But between now and then, I just, I don't usually talk very much about myself. I find that, as a teacher, that I really don't feel comfortable letting the students know too much about my personal life, because they have me on a pedestal. And the more they know about you, the more that pedestal crumbles. So usually I don't talk very much about myself. And but I will give you a quick biography. Really, this is my 3-minute biography. I was born in Tampa, Florida. I'm 3rd generation Cuban American. My grandparents came to this country in 1890, okay? And my whole family worked in the cigar factories in Tampa making cigars. And I grew up in this community where we spoke only Spanish, and the radio stations were in Spanish, the newspapers were in Spanish, and at home we always spoke Spanish. My father never learned English. My mother was born in this country, but she was Cuban also, and she spoke pretty good English, so she would tutor us on speaking English. And so we ended up, all my siblings are all bilingual. We are all bilingual today, And I'm really grateful for that, too. But what I remember about living there and growing up there in the 40s was that I loved it. I had a wonderful childhood. I was a middle child, and I got away with a lot, and growing up there, I think, prepared me a lot for my later practices, of Tai Chi and meditation, because for one thing, I was a really good dancer in high school. I mean, contests and, not dancing with the stars, not that sort of thing, but just a good dancer. So that made me very popular. I was very popular with girls, And I think that dancing and that Cuban music and all that movement and all that stuff, kind of in a way prepared me to, makes it more able for me to let go with my body and really move. So where was I? Yeah, back in the place that I grew up is called Ybor City, Y-B-O-R. Today it's a tourist destination, with multiplexes and Burger King and that sort of thing, But that's what happened to it. Anyway, just to move on quickly, when I was 13, and this I think was really a seminal event in my life, my father, who, is from the old country, he was raising me like he was raised, And when I turned 13, he sat me down, and I was already smoking and hanging out in the corners, There was no television. No, when I grew up, we had no television. I'm really grateful for that, But he sat me down and he gave me a key to our apartment. We lived in a government housing project, low-income housing, And he gave me a key to the apartment, and he said, "You don't have to come home at any time. You just, let yourself in." He says, "But I want you to get a job." So that was kind of like, okay, you're a man now. Okay, you got to go out, make some money, and bring some money into the household, And of course, he found me a job, right? And I went to work after school from the time I was in junior high. I worked, always had a job, but I always had a nice bicycle because I could buy it, And eventually in high school I had a car, But so that's kind of like where I grew up. I went into the military. I was in the Navy for 4 years, and I could tell you a lot of stories about that. But for the most part, again, I have some very good memories of being in the military. It was don't ask, don't tell. But there was a lot going on, And if you were gay and, were, just kind of watch your step and didn't say anything about it, it was okay. It was okay. In fact, that's sort of where I came out. I was really struggling with having a girlfriend and being in love with her brother and, and all this stuff in high school. And I went into the Navy because they would make a man out of me, right? Well, I got to boot camp, and I was in the same room with 75 young guys, 18 and 19 years old, and I realized, that I was queer, that this is really what I wanted, and this was in boot camp, and I knew that I had 4 years ahead of me, in this commitment. But also that kind of prepared me for what was it? Somebody had a question about persistence, just sticking it out, sticking it out. But it wasn't bad, believe me. I got stationed in the Mediterranean. I got to travel a lot. I got stationed in Key West before it was gay, really gay, I spent. I really my Navy time, I think, was preparing me for later life somehow. I learned how to do my laundry, how to put it away, all these, basic skills of living, that I didn't have. I didn't have any of those skills, And then after the Navy, I worked in the government. I worked for the federal government in Washington for a while, and, like so many things, being gay, in a way, opened the door for me, in Washington. I had a gay friend who was on Capitol Hill, who got me a job, and just things just fell into place, that way. And again, I was with the Agency for International Development. So I worked in Geneva for a while, and then I worked a year in Costa Rica, and it was just one, again, I enjoyed doing that, And then I got fired for being gay. And that was in 1962. And nothing you could do about it, And so I moved to San Francisco. What else, Where do you go? You go where your brothers are, And I lived here for a long time. My first apartment was actually on Duncan, at the top of the hill on Duncan, way up there. But where I lived most of the time was at Sanchez and Market. In the old days, the streetcar was on the surface. Well, they did on the surface now, weren't they? Yeah. But those big cars were on the surface. One of my boyfriends was a Muni driver, and so this was in the '60s. This was the Castro was not the Castro. It was called Eureka Valley, and it was pretty much Irish and Scandinavian people and children, a lot of kids, But after dark, it was very cruisy in that neighborhood. Does anybody remember that? You remember that? So that's where I lived in the first place when I lived here, and I think I'll just fast forward, and tell you that after 40 years in San Francisco, I decided to move to Sonoma County, and I've been living there since 1997, and I'm very happy there, I lived in Occidental for 12 years, and then I recently moved to Santa Rosa, and I'm living very close to downtown Santa Rosa. This morning, I got up. Someone asked about how do you squeeze all this into one day, and the only way that I know how to do it is to schedule it. Actually schedule it, make a date to go sit and keep the date, get there and do it, and that's how I can do it. That's the only way I can do it, is to schedule it. So my schedule is that I get up and I go to the bathroom and then I come and sit in my cushion and kind of wake up here. And for half an hour, breakfast, and then I go to the park. This wonderful park in Santa Rosa. I was there this morning, called Juilliard Park. It's across the street from Luther Burbank's Home and Gardens. And a lot of the trees in this park were planted by Luther Burbank. And beautiful, beautiful trees. Beautiful, right now especially. Pretty nice. And and that's what my life is like today. I'm retired. I'm in pretty good health. You heard the introduction. I do this healing stuff. I do a lot of stuff. And although I never talk like this, I've been interviewed many times. I've been on television and radio, and newspaper reporters have interviewed me, usually around the issue of HIV. Usually around, the fact that, that I'm still here. All right? That I'm still well, after all these years, So, knowing all that, I'll open it up for questions if anybody has any questions, or any details that you want to hear about. I'll be happy to do that.
I have a question. First, appreciation, Emilio, for being here today and sharing of yourself, and allowing your pedestal to take a notch lower. I've never met you before, but I feel honored to be in your presence. So, a current awareness for myself that I would like to know from you, what your opinion is my own recognition of being brought up in an oppressive world with regard to my natural sexuality, and that it's a silent at times. It's not so silent recently, but it's been silent. And the question is around how do we as a gay, use this broad term gay, as a non-heterosexual world, how do we transform ourselves out of the oppression that I judge we non-heterosexuals have gotten quite comfortable with? So how do we transform out of the comfort of the oppression, which has become, my judgment, the debilitating culture at times that many men are involved in, that is called gay?
Okay, you want the short answer? I tell you, I deal with that in Santa Rosa because, Santa Rosa is not the Castro. And although Sonoma County is pretty liberal. There are pockets of people there who don't like queers. Let's face it. And even businesses that don't want you to come in. And this is Santa Rosa, which is just 65 miles away. Right? So when I was living here, that didn't happen too much. There were other oppressive things that happened here, but that wasn't one of them. But for me, I just find that that I really do like living among a lot of different kinds of people. I lived in the Castro for so long. I was surrounded with only gay men. That I really lost touch of what it was like to live in the real world. And so moving to the country, I moved to a very supportive place. Occidental is really a kind of a left-wing hippie hangout. And so there you could be anything you want to. You could be a zebra. It doesn't matter. And it was okay to be old. Where I was living here, being old as a gay man it's not that cool. I've seen the city go through so many changes, and in recent years there's been a lot of young people everywhere. No matter where I went, I was the oldest person. And if I decided my life in San Francisco was over, that's when I moved. And I've discovered that out there, there's a lot of people that they don't give a damn if you're gay, right? They don't care, right? Other people that are very supportive, and other people that don't like you because you're gay, And that's and I can live with that. I can live with that, I've suffered discrimination, because I'm Hispanic. I can walk into a convenience store and I feel the people getting tensed up. And you learn to live with that. And my program says to pray for them. Pray for them. That's what it says. Another question. Are there any other questions? No. Well, we have. We've got what time do you have to quit? Yeah. Okay. Well, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the one question that I get asked most often by my students and by other people too. Is how did you ever get into Tai Chi? And sometimes I think what they're really asking is, how did you, a Cuban homosexual with HIV, get into Tai Chi? That's really the question. That's really what they're asking. And I never tell them the truth, of course, but I'll tell you the guys the truth because I'll probably never see you again. I'll see you again. But like so many things in my life, it started the same way, I met this really cute guy in my accounting class at UCLA and fell in love, and he was a martial artist, ex-Marine and all this stuff, and married. And into Kung Fu. In those days, nobody even knew what Kung Fu was, This is before Bruce Lee, And he had 2 motorcycles, So I mean, it was just like love, We really had a good time together, and finally I joined the Kung Fu class, And they beat the shit out of you, I mean, I used to get hurt, bleeding and stuff like that, And the same teacher taught Tai Chi, And I saw him doing it one day, and I said, I want to learn. That's what I want to learn. That's what I want to learn. And so he said, well, you need to go up the street here to Master Dome's studio, who is the teacher we heard about earlier. in 1973, and he said, just go that's the guy you want to study with. And I went and took a look, and I thought, no, well, I don't know, this is kind of weird. And I waited a year, and then I went back. And I haven't stopped doing it now for 38 years, and my friend Bill with the motorcycles, I don't know what happened to him. But I'm very grateful to him, for having kind of opened the door for me and led me in that direction. And today that's my practice, is the Tai Chi practice. I'm a meditator and I teach meditation, but Tai Chi is really my path. I thought, well, I'm going to be the one that will integrate meditation and Tai Chi into one thing. I'm going to be the one to do it. Well, that's bullshit. You can't do that. They're very different. Although they're getting closer together, the more I practice. But like today's sitting for me was a body experience, and I really encourage all of you to focus on your body when you're sitting here. Get out of your head. I did a workshop for Alcoholics Anonymous a few weeks ago, and it was entitled "Getting Out of Your Head and Into Your Body." And we practice doing that. We'll do that today. And it's all about attention. Where you put your attention. We have a built-in attention getter with our breath. It's there. It's not going to go away. If it does, you're in trouble. So it's always there. It's always there. It's the one thing you can count on. Your breath will always be there. You start there. But what I did today is that I started at my feet and smiling into my feet and smiling all the way up. I learned this at Spirit Rock. I think some teacher did this for us. And it took a long time because I would get lost, and start planning ahead or regretting something that I did and trying to rework it, But then come back to the body, and that's what I really encourage you to do, is to get into your body. So why don't we stand up and put away the cushions, and we'll go to the step forward. You get another roll. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. That's okay. It's a little crowded back in there. Why don't some of you guys step forward and move to your left a little bit. And you're going to need this much room, so you stagger yourself so you can stretch your arms out. We're going to eventually get to this posture. Okay, let's warm up your hands. That wasn't so bad. I answered your questions, right? Also move your wine. This one with the hands. And now tapping on your head. All over. Just put the fingertips pretty hard in your face, ears. Oh, yeah. In here on the shoulder. Down the arm. Under. Down the front. Up the back. Good. I will be taping that one. So let's just loosen the wrist. Okay. And turn your body. Good. Now, warm up your head again. Start at the chin. Here and go up your pericardium, then down the sides. Inhale on the way up, and then exhale through your mouth. And you can make a sound when you go. Okay. Now one more time. Now this time go up. Over the top, down the back. Down the back. Back of the legs. Around the toes, and then up the front slowly. You come higher than the waist. And then dip the fingers like this. Relax your shoulders. And watch your breath here. Let's do that again. Start at the chin. Go up the front. Over the top. Down the back. Down the toe, and then come up the front. Higher than your waist. And then the fingers down. Relax the shoulders and keep your head up. And just breathe. more time, just like that. Start with the chin and go up. And this time come down the side by the ears, and the side of your neck, and the side of your body. Around the toe. Come up inside the legs, slowly. Higher than the word. And then dip your fingers. And rock the shoulders. And just pay attention to your breath here for 1 minute. Your feet are flat on the floor. Don't lock your knees. And widen the elbows a little bit. Feel your belly expanding when you inhale. Slowly, palms up. Open your body. Open. Elbows lower. Breathe. And breathe into your palms. Now up slowly. Slowly. Bend the elbow. Keep this feeling in your hands. Maybe you can feel the same thing in the crown of the head. Now lower the hands slowly near your face. And kind of move the energy down the front of the body. Slowly and breathing, breathe. And smiling, smile. Shake a little bit. And move your feet. And I think that's all the time we have for my part of the program. So thank you very much, and thank you for having me here. Thank you.
So why don't we just remain standing? I think it'd be easier, but do we have a host today?
Thank you for listening to the Gay Buddhist Forum. If you would like to hear several new talks per month and be notified of upcoming speakers so you can participate live, please subscribe to this podcast, like us on Facebook, and join our mailing list by visiting gaybuddhist.org.